Hello and welcome to IT Skills 360. I'm your host RJ. As we discussed in the previous episode about 6 reasons to consider an IT job, let's continue our discussion. Is it possible to get an IT job even without experience? Now, obviously, that is a rather difficult task, but the question is it possible? And the answer is absolutely that is possible to get an IT job without experience. Now, how am I able to say this? Because I am one of those who actually did not have a real IT experience and learned everything myself. Let me tell you my story quickly. So I was studying engineering, and I'm talking about almost 25 years ago. So I was designing an engine that would run on an alternative fuel, especially natural gas. And in doing so, I had to do lots of calculations. Like I had to check the change in pressure, temperature, volume, when the piston moves in the shaft moves with the crank rotation and all those kind of things. Now all I had at that time was the scientific calculator, and that was no way, no match to do all these different calculations to come up with the right solution. So I was suggested to check out a computer program, to write a computer program actually, and there was no school for me at that time. So I grabbed the manual, and there was no Google, of course. I grabbed the manual. I started learning myself what is the computer program and what are the logical steps, what is the loops, all those kind of things. And I wrote a program, and I was able to successfully create that engine. But in doing all these, what happened is I kind of fell in love with computer programming, and that's how I got into this IT world. So my point is it possible? Absolutely, it is possible. But to do that, to get an IT job without experience, what is the fundamental requirement? I would say that has to be there, and that's what I have seen in my overall career. I would say the most important requirement, first and foremost, is your mindset. So, unless you have the real mindset that you can learn and you can do all these challenging tasks to learn IT, there is nothing that will be possible. So the positive attitude is absolutely the first thing. Now how does that happen? So what happens is, normally when we are talking to ourselves, and there is always a self talk going on in our mind, right? So you might be talking, or and that comes from our surrounding, your friends, your parents, your colleagues, and they keep talking about, hey, you are this, you are that, or I did this and I did that. So you might hear talking to yourself that I am too, let's say, too old, maybe too young, maybe too poor, maybe I don't have a college education, or maybe I have a college education but maybe in a different field. So the point is, there is always some self-talk going on that is preventing you to create that positive mindset. So the first and foremost thing is to control that positive mindset and believe in yourself. So if you do believe, now let's look at some of the options that will help us to get into the IT job. So the first thing, I'm again repeating it, but know thyself, I would say, and that means you should have the right mindset, because without that, nothing is possible. So I can't stress that point enough. If you don't believe in yourself, well, that you are worthy of what you are trying to pursue, then I would say don't bother pursuing that, because it will never happen. You need to believe in yourself. And this applies to anything in life. I'm not talking about just the IT job. Whatever your dream is, whatever you're trying to pursue, you need to believe in that first. Now, the second step about learning or getting an IT job would be obviously to learn technology. Now, what needs to be learned is there is a fundamental reason to do this learning. And what is the logic behind that learning is that what you are trying to get, which is the IT job, is always relative to the relevant skills you will have and the relevant experience you have. So that skills and experience, they go together, and the key part, the important aspect here is to pay attention to relevant word. Because you might have any skill and any experience, but if they are not relevant, then to get an an IT job in this case, or to get any job for that matter, if you don't have a relative skill, it won't be possible. So I highly recommend that whatever you are trying to do, always make a relevant skills and relevant experience together. That will definitely increase your chances of getting that job. So under skills section, what can you have? Well, obviously you need to know programming, or as we call it, coding. There are various languages available, and later on we'll have some details on what to go for and what not to. Not everybody needs to know all these languages, and for somebody new to IT, it may look totally foreign, but they are once you get into it, it will become very easy. Some of the languages, very popular one in general, are Python, Java, HTML, JavaScript, .NET, C++, and there are many other things also that go in IT, which is called especially database. There are some specific IT tools you can learn that doesn't require you to program anything. You can learn, let's say, Tableau, Cognos. There are certain data visualization tools that is also in high demand, and they are basically drag and drop type of thing. So there are various ways to get into learning. Now, how and where we can learn all this? So there are so many online resources nowadays. There are videos, there are tutorials that you can get hands on. There are also lots of books available. You can visit your library or online. Again, some PDFs are available, or visit Barnes and Noble. That is one of my favorite stores. I mean, that is the only store left now with the books. So highly recommend that. Now there are lots of free tutorials available again online. Udemy is one of the well-known ones. If there are free and paid courses, there is of course YouTube. There is a site called EDX. There is also a site called Coursera, Free Code Academy. All of these sites, they do have lots of tutorials. So basically, those who want to learn, there is nothing stopping you. The second step would be, now as we saw the equation, that you need to have relevant skills and relevant experience. So well, once you gain the skills, that is not enough. You also need to have relevant experience. And to get an experience as a new person, it's kind of a catch 22, right? If you don't have an experience, you can get a job, but if you don't have a job, you don't have an experience. So what can you do? So when you are new to IT, I suggest you try to find some kind of internship where you don't expect much as a in the form of compensation, but there is a time you will spend. In return, you will gain some experience and knowledge. Basically, you can offer your free services to some of the uh, required organizations. You can also volunteer in places, and after you have skills and you have added some experience, now the next step would be to market yourself. Now this is an important aspect of selling yourself, and that applies again to every walks of life. So just like we talked about the mindset, marketing yourself is also an important aspect. It doesn't matter whether it is for IT, it will be applicable in pretty much all walks of life. So how can you market yourself? Well, the first and foremost thing is you'll have to update your resume. You have to put the relevant skills and relevant experience. If you remember that formula, it will make it much easier to go through these steps. Now, when you update the resume, of course, you have to put all the details in. At the same time, there are some additional tools like LinkedIn profile. Nowadays, LinkedIn has become one of the go-to places for any jobs. As well as the recruiters are looking for people on LinkedIn, so you can be found there. Also, if possible, create a personal website which will showcase your work. And networking with other people who are in the industry, who can help you get a job. Those things are very valuable. So after all these things, so once you learn the new skills, once you gain some experience and market yourself, there are very high chances to get your IT job, and without, I would say, much of an experience. Just an internship would be definitely helpful, and even some kind of showcasing your projects would be also helpful to make your case stronger to be considered as a candidate. Now, I'm not saying that all this will be easy, but my again fundamental thing is, if you are ready to grind, if you are ready to put in time, it certainly will be possible. And of course, as we saw again, IT job is definitely rewarding. So here is my question. Do you think you can get an IT job without experience? Whether you say yes or you say no, I would say you are right. Because, well, because that is your mindset. Hey, please comment in the below if whatever is your thought, and if you are struggling with anything, if I can be of any help, please reach out to me. We can definitely talk in brief, and I can help you, guide you through your IT journey. I would be honored. I have, as I said, I have an IT experience of almost 25 years now, and I have seen all the ups and downs and different languages and IT management. I do scan through lots of resumes, lots of candidates. I interview them. So I'd say I have like some input to provide, and I would be happy to reach out. If you reach out to me, I would be happy to guide you through. All right, I genuinely wish you all the best in your IT job journey and exploration. Please keep in touch. Again, my email is rj@itskills360.com. Thank you so much again.